Hey, Clint Butler here from SIA, and thank you very much for joining me. This is test number 41, lean code versus code bloat. Does it really hurt your website? Let's find out. All right, so let's get into this. And basically what we're talking about here is going with a developer that has that codes just exactly what you need, no more, no less, versus using a system that may or may not just have extra code. A good example, constant contact or content form. I forget the name of the plugin. Content form 7 or some craziness like that. It's a really popular content form. You guys probably know what I'm talking about. You put that on your website. Let's say you only use it on one page. By default, it actually loads on every page of the website. So you don't need that. That's creating code bloat. There are some web page builders. Elementor comes to mind. I think Visual Basic does it a little bit too with WP Bakery, but it's not as bad as Elementor. And many others that add all of the styling for the entire site to every page. And it creates this head thing if you ever scroll through there where you have 30, 40 lines of extra junk that may or may not even be used on that website at the time or on that particular web page, and that adds code bloat. And then there have been some things like Yoast SEO has been accused of code bloat. Honestly, I haven't really seen that very much. It adds the headers and the OG tags and Twitter cards like it's supposed to. It adds the links to the RSS feeds. It adds the links to the sitemaps, and then it adds some comment stuff. The comment stuff, I guess you could kind of consider that code bloat, but at the end of the day, those really don't affect the loading of the web page all that much anyway. I think that's more of it's bloated code inside of the back end of your websites. And if Yoast SEO is slowing you down because of bloated code, you probably are on a cheap host and you need to get that fixed rather than blame Yoast SEO. So anyway, what about all this bloated code? Is it actually hurting your web page? And the test showed that there's two. We had one that's clean and the other one that was bloated. And we kind of tried to set up some, the content form 7 idea and a bunch of other stuff, and just kind of blew it out and just made it unnecessarily large. And what happened is that page, the bloated page, actually dropped all the way to the bottom of the SERPs. It didn't disappear; it just dropped to the bottom. And that tells us that a leaner, cleaner page or in the code is better for Google for it to understand what is going on with the page. When it has to read all that extra stuff, that might, and this is a pure guess, it might lower the keyword density of that page and not clearly indicate what the page is about. Versus a leaner one, which has less line of code, and in the code wise, it's got a higher keyword density, which is why that one stayed where it was compared to the controls, which is pretty interesting if you think about it, and that Google might be reading, in the case of this test, the entire HTML of the page, and basing the keyword density off of that versus just what's literally in the content when you see it in what we call the DOM. So something to look at. If you want my recommendations, I'll tell you I have one site in Elementor and I have one site in Oxygen. I build all of my client sites in Oxygen now. We use Visual Basic 2. WP Bakery is the one who makes that. That's actually pretty decent. It's not as clean as Oxygen, but it works pretty well. But Elementor is, in and of itself, pretty bloated. There are tools and services and plugins that you can add to eliminate some of that bulk loading, the stuff you don't need, i.e. like the content form thing. It's called unused CSS. There's a service out there. You go and figure it out. It figures out what CSS you don't need, and then you kind of handle it that way. There's a plugin where you can drop in those lines and stuff that you get from unused CSS, and it'll kind of keep everything down. And there's other plugins on the market that'll help you if you just don't want to switch and you like Elementor and you're used to building your sites in Elementor and you just want it to be a little bit faster, then research those plugins and you'll be able to leverage that a whole lot better. Otherwise, just buy some better themes. There's some really good theme developers that are using Elementor that are making some nice stuff, and you can buy one of those and modify that a little bit and make it perfect just for your own needs. So those are several recommendations you can try out. Mine, I just kind of love Oxygen, so you can try to check that one out as well. All right, that's it. I hope you like this video. Hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button if you're not already, and we'll see you on the next one.